Hey guys, happy holiday! Today we're making the best gingerbread cookies with simple steps. I'll also share how to decorate them. So let's get started. To make the dough, first combine the dry ingredients: all-purpose flour, baking soda, salt, ginger, cinnamon, nutmeg, and clove. You can sift all of them together or mix well with the whisk and set it aside. In a mixing bowl, add soft butter and brown sugar and mix well until it gets pale in color and looks a little fluffier like this. And next, add all the liquids, which is egg, molasses, and vanilla, and beat well until it looks fluffy again. Today I added everything at once, but you can of course divide in half if you prefer. And first it will look very separated like this, and you may feel nervous about it, but don't worry, just keep beating. Usually after a minute or a few minutes, it'll get smoother and fluffier like this. And now add the dry ingredients and mix until evenly incorporated. And check one last time to see if the dough is even. And now we're gonna roll the dough. I divide it in half usually because it's just easier to roll with less amount. Form a ball and place the surface to flatten it. You can roll it much easier that way. And lay a towel under parchment paper when it moves around as you roll it. And I recommend thick towel. With thin towel, parchment paper still slides oftentimes. You can peel off the parchment paper on top on a way to check the thickness and roll it into about 1/4 inch thickness. For gingerbread cookies, I prefer using parchment papers to roll instead of dusting flour on the surface because one, it'll look more neat without any flour on the surface, and the texture is better. The more flour you add, the crunchier your cookies get. And do the exactly same thing with the second dough. And chill the dough in the fridge completely so that you can cut out the dough with the cookie cutters a lot more easily, which usually takes about 1 hour. Peel off the parchment paper on top and the bottom and cut out the dough with any cookie cutters you like. Correct the extra dough, roll it, and repeat the same thing. And I like to chill the dough in the fridge and bake at 350 Fahrenheit for about 7 to 10 minutes depending on the oven, the size and the thickness of the cookies, how cold the dough is, how crunchy you want it to get, and so on. With my oven, I feel 8 minutes work the best. It's crispy outside, but still soft inside. And when I want to make it very soft, I do 7 minutes or 10 minutes when I want to make it very crunchy. To make the icing, sift the powdered sugar with a fine sieve, especially when it's lumpy. Add milk and mix well. Scrape off the side and the bottom of the bowl and the whisk to catch any powdered sugar or the thicker icing so that you can make smooth and even icing. And pour in a pastry bag right away before the surface starts getting dry. And this is totally optional, but today I wanted to add red color, so I added the red coloring to some of the icing. And a little bit of brown because I wanted to create a little bit moody, like burgundish red. So this is the thicker icing that you want to use to draw lines. So when you want a thinner icing to fill the space, do the exactly same thing, but just add more milk. Let's decorate the gingerbread cookies. You can decorate as you like and have fun here. Go simple if you don't have time, or add extra decorations if you feel like it. You can make the dough ahead and store in the fridge or freezer and bake the cookies whenever you get time. Just leave the dough at room temperature ahead to make it soften. And you can store the baked cookies either at room temperature or in the fridge. Wrap them tightly and put them in an airtight container, or pack each of them in a plastic bag when you're planning to sell them or give to somebody. So today I chill the Kara cookie doughs before I bake them, and I almost always like to do that when it comes to cookies. But for this recipe, as you can see the results, it doesn't make a huge difference even if you don't chill the dough. So if you don't have a time, if you are in a rush, just bake them in the oven right away. For gingerbread cookies, some recipes use baking soda or baking powder, and some of you may wonder what difference they make. So I did a quick test. The color is a little bit darker with baking soda, but as you can see, it's not a huge difference with the appearance. About the texture, with baking soda, it feels a little bit more moist, chewier, and I feel it brings up more flavor, especially molasses. With baking powder, I felt it is slightly less moist, more crumbly, and it has more cakey texture. So I personally prefer the texture with baking soda, but this might be just about the personal preference. So I would say if you don't have a baking soda and cannot get it on time, just use baking powder instead and you can get the job done. This month I have 1 or 2 more cookie videos coming up, so I hope you're gonna enjoy it as well. And if you make this recipe, please let me know about the result, how you enjoyed it at home. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy pastry living. Happy holiday, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.